Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about why I think the Washington football team should try to trade for quarterback Deshaun Watson once all of the legal issues do clear up, because at the end of the day, you need a franchise quarterback for sustained success in the National Football League. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content, hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. And also, make sure to check out WinView. Let's get right into the video. So as all of us know, the Washington football team is still looking for their franchise quarterback, and it's really hard to do that. Whether it's the draft, free agency, a trade, rarely does the opportunity present itself where a franchise quarterback is available and you know he's a franchise quarterback. And that's what's happening with Deshaun Watson and Houston. Obviously, the circumstances are very different than most cases. I mean, he's coming in, he requested a trade before his prime. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but there's also legal issues behind it which complicate the trade even more already than it is. And Ian Rappaport's been reporting for a while that he thinks a trade will go down by November 2nd, and Deshaun Watson will be eligible to play right away. And I don't know. It's a little hard to believe that teams will be willing to give up a ton to get Deshaun Watson when they don't know if he's, playing. And then also, if you're the Texans, are you going to be willing to give him up for, a lower price than you would if he wasn't facing all of these legal issues? That's the question right there. Right here, a tweet from, Ben Stanek kind of reporting on the Deshaun Watson trade kind of speculation. He says, Deshaun Watson name came up broadly and often when speaking with league sources for my recent Washington quarterback story. The sense I receive from teams is that the trade talk in the media is being pushed by the Texans since the market is otherwise quiet because of his legal matters. So there you go. Whether obvious or not, mentioning how now, because the Watson trade talk rumor will likely hit another level at the owners meeting, which started this today. So it's going to be interesting to see how these rumors develop, because Washington of course needs a quarterback. Ron Rivera has talked about that this week, even in his interviews, that they need a franchise quarterback. They need to try to get one, even to win some of the fan base back. So I don't know. It's tough to believe that he will get traded, but you cannot, deny the talent that is Deshaun Watson, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL when he is playing. In 2020, played 16 games, had a 70% completion percentage, 4,800 yards, which led the NFL. Had 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He also had 90 rushes for 444 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, he would bring something that this franchise hasn't had for a long time. A franchise quarterback, a top 5, debatably top 5, top 7 quarterback when he is playing. And it would cost. The other question not only is the legal issues. I mean, those are very big right now. I mean, we don't know if he's going to be, it's likely that when, whatever team does trade for him, if it happens before the trade deadline, he will be able to play for the rest of the season. But once the season is over, I believe he has some court hearings in January, and then after that, things could go sideways and maybe he's gone. So, I mean, this tweet from Andrew Brand, he said, I cannot believe an NFL owner in this current climate especially would bring in Deshaun Watson and face his fan base with the lawsuits circling that player, no matter how good a trade deal they could get. I mean, yeah, and you're going to have to give up a decent amount for Deshaun Watson. The Texans aren't going to, just trade him for a first-round pick, a couple seconds, and a good player. No, it's going to be multiple first-round picks, multiple second to third-round picks, and a good player. And, Washington's going to have to be willing to give that up. And if these legal situations were resolved, I 100% would, do almost anything. If I were Washington, I would do almost anything, to get Deshaun Watson, because if you want sustained success in the NFL, what do you need? You need at least an above average quarterback to a franchise quarterback. I mean, you look at the Bengals and it's a small sample size, but they are 5-2 this year, in the second year with their quarterback Joe Burrow, and they have a solid roster, but it's not anything special outside of the quarterback position. They don't have amazing players at every position. They got some solid players: Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jonah Williams is a former first round pick. They got Trey Hendrickson, but on the defensive side, but they don't have like a bunch of just great players. I mean, we honestly on defense are much more talented, and we have some great players on offense too, but it doesn't matter unless you have a good quarterback. And Deshaun Watson is an elite quarterback. You bring him in and this team is much, much better. But you also have to think, if you trade for him before the trade deadline is over, then you're risking, getting him and, with his legal issues still not resolved, and then maybe he's in jail for a while and you can't get him. And also, Washington, with everything that's going on with this franchise, it would be tough for them to get him before the legal issues are resolved. I wouldn't be upset if we did it, but I think it would be smarter to not, give up a couple first round picks, a defensive lineman, some more, mid round picks for a guy that you don't know is gonna play, gonna be able to play for you for a long period of time. But if he is cleared, then I am all for it, because he's under contract for I think 4 or 5 more years. He's an elite quarterback, and he would bring this team to a whole nother level. And, I'll read this tweet right here from Josina Anderson. She says, "A league source to me this morning, there are more teams Deshaun Watson can go to besides Miami. It's not just Miami or bust. My understanding is Watson is willing, for the most part, to go to the teams that are interested in him, because he does have a no trade clause. So he does get to decide where he wants to go." I do believe the Texans are done with Deshaun Watson. They want to trade him, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to, trade him before the trade deadline, just with these legal issues not resolved. Even though he can play, that's a different story than he's going to be able to play for you for 5+ years. And you're hearing different reports. Ian Rappaport thinks it's going to happen very soon, and you hear Ben Standig saying that he thinks it's more of the Texans putting that information out, so that a trade can get done. You see this right here, this headline: Texans expect to trade Deshaun Watson by November 2nd deadline. So we will see. But Deshaun Watson in Washington uniform, you give up let's go through some hypothetical trades. He has a big contract, so you might have to, trade a player or two with a decent size contract. You're going to have to give up multiple first round picks, likely 2 first round picks, maybe 2 second round picks, and a player, maybe someone like Daron Payne, a defensive lineman. And maybe to make the salaries work a little bit more, you could unload someone like Brandon Sheriff, because you're Deshaun Watson, I don't know what the cap hit this year is, but he's making $40 million a year. So I don't know if we could just trade for him straight up without including any players. Not sure how that all works out, but if they needed to, make the money work, maybe they could go ahead, trade Brandon Sheriff over to the Texans, and, it would be okay for the Texans because they get a good player for the rest of the year, but they also will get a comp pick if he leaves, or they'll be able to re-sign him. Either way, it would be a, fine for them to take on Brandon Sheriff, but also whatever team trades for him is going to have to give up multiple first round picks and second round / third round picks, plus a very, very good player, someone like Daron Payne. I don't think they'll trade Montez Sweat or Chase Young. Obviously not Jonathan Allen, just because they did just re-sign him. But I think if it really came down to, I think they would be willing to give up someone like Montez Sweat or Daron Payne. And I want to hear in the comments down below, first off, would you trade for Deshaun Watson right now, regardless of the legal issue? You don't know if that's going to get resolved. Would you trade for him right now? And then also, would you give up a ton after that once everything gets resolved? Maybe it gets resolved soon before the trade deadline, or maybe after the season. And then would you be willing to give up a ton for Deshaun Watson? I really, really would like Deshaun Watson in a Washington football team uniform. And I would prefer, of course, to have everything cleared up so that we can get him and know that we're going to get him for a long time, and know that we have a good guy. We don't want a guy that is accused of all those things, especially if he is found guilty. So that's something to consider. But he is a great talent, and there's definitely a possibility he gets traded before the trade deadline, and he's playing on a roster soon. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Peace, guys.